Who is Nebraska going to be in 2024? Because the way that it's felt from the Scott Frost era to the Matt Rhule era, if you were just looking at the box score, you say, well, yeah, we changed head coaches, but the scores are still pretty similar to what we were experiencing previously. One score loss after one score loss, heartbreak after heartbreak. I talk about the Rod Wave syndrome for our friends out there in Gainesville. Heart been broke so many times, you don't know what to believe. That's how Nebraska feels. They're like, I want to be optimistic. I want to believe in the Big Red. I want to buy in. I want to drink the Kool-Aid, but I've been hurt too many times, man. I don't know if I want to go down that road again. And I understand, but we'll talk about it right now with what you can expect so your expectations are properly gauged moving into 2024. Make sure you're subscribed. Nebraska Faithful, y'all been tremendous to us. Y'all have attacked the subscribe button with us, and we're glad to have y'all a part of this show. If you're new, welcome. College football, it's year-round. We're talking about a spring game here. We're talking about, different things throughout the offseason. So we're a little bit sick for this game. So are you. Lock in. We appreciate you for that. When I look at Nebraska in 2024, I don't think this is a typical Matt Rhule rebuild of sorts. I put rebuild in air quotes for those that are listening on podcasts. Because the way that Matt Rhule's done things, he takes over a team, whether it be a Temple or a Baylor, they're down bad, and then he brings in good culture, he develops, they evaluate at an elite level, and then by year 2, they have a little bit more success. They, win maybe 7 games, maybe 8 games, depending on how that bowl game goes. And then year 3 is where you really go for a conference title kind of season. I believe this is a AP year 2 Matt Rhule team. Now, for those of y'all that understand or remember the AP courses we took in high school or maybe watched other people take in high school, I think it's a little bit advanced from what we've seen from previous year 2 teams. And what I mean by that is we had a different jumping off point for Nebraska than we did for Baylor and Temple if we're Matt Rhule and company. Like Baylor, there were folks talking about that school, their football program at least, ceasing to exist. Temple, I think they won like 1 or 2 games the year before. And then year 2, they had a little more success and did what I said they'd do, which is win right around 7 or 8 games. I think this team, the roster talent level, is higher than that. I think that the buy-in too, culturally, is higher than what those previous schools had. Because these guys at Nebraska, man, you don't play close games unless you have the proper competitive approach. Now, it takes a little bit something extra to get over the hump and win those one-score games, but I'm just telling you, like, if your culture is just for the dogs, and if your culture is just in a bad spot and it's down bad and you need to rebuild that whole thing, you don't play that many close games like Nebraska did year 1. Now, I think what we're going to see from them is the defense is going to keep them in every single game. Nebraska's top 3 in returning production. 78% of that defense from last year is back production-wise. Most importantly, the defensive coordinator is back. Tony White, he's going to be a head coach, I believe, this time next year. So, last dance, baby, is my opinion. They allowed 18 points a game last year. The thing with them is they're going to be like they're going to take a ping-pong approach, I think, when it comes to how they play football in 2024, which is you just hit it over the net, hit it over the net, hit it over the net, and wait for your opponent to make that fatal flaw. Whether they hit it off the table, whether they hit it into the net, whether they throw you a pick, whether they fumble it, whether they bust a coverage, whatever it is, whenever they make their mistake, you pounce on it. That's what Nebraska is going to be defensively in 2024. I truly believe that. Now, the flavor packet for Nebraska, the thing that changes the entire way you look at them as a team and as a meal, if you're keeping with that metaphor, is the ceiling of what they can be offensively in 2024. It's a game changer, man. Added some pieces through the portal. And let's just call a spade, man. If Dylan Rhule is anywhere near what Nebraska fans think he could be, if he's anywhere near the rumblings of what he's doing behind closed doors right now, they're going to be really exciting to watch offensively. And let's just be honest, like last year's offense isn't setting the bar extremely high for success. They scored 18 points a game, did Nebraska. They averaged 6.2 yards a pass, which is it's worse than 100th in the country, I believe, 109th in the country. For those of y'all that are stat checking there, they're not done yet via the portal, I don't think, too. So we'll see what they add. But they're not losing a lot. They're not losing a lot. The way that the offense could be so much better compared to last season. Now, the schedule's a little more difficult. We understand that. Are they a conference title team in 2024? I don't know, but I think they're going to be an absolute pain in your side every single week, man. Like what I just said, I don't have a ton of concern about Nebraska rolling that defense out there. I think it's one of the sneaky best defenses in the country. And if you just have something serviceable offensively to roll with. And if Dylan Raiola kind of grows into himself as the season wears on, like how good could they be? We're going to find out, but they're going to run the football effectively. That's who they are. That's who Matt Rhule is. They're going to block. They're going to tackle. Like all the cliches that you hear coaches talk about, Matt Rhule actually embodies into his football team, and they eventually take on that persona. They're taking a step from year 1 to year 2 under Matt Rhule. In that year 1 to year 2 development, the way that Matt Rhule talked about it to us when he came on this show, is it's about these guys taking our process and making it their process. Like, it's one thing for a coach to say, hey, I want you to do X, Y, and Z on the field, off the field, in the locker room, all these things. And you can receive that message. It'll have some impact on you because you have more structure around you. But when the team takes that and runs with it, which I think they're doing right now in Lincoln, quite honestly, that changes everything for you. Changes everything for you. So going back to what I said, Nebraska is going to be an absolute pain every single game you have to play them. They're in range with the roster, I believe, from a talent level. I don't think that disparity is quite as large as it was previously. The experience at quarterback is going to be a little bit of a learning curve, I believe. But the way that Matt Rhule does things, paired with how that roster is close to what they need to be, they go to Ohio State. I believe it is the week before Ohio State plays Penn State. Like, will Nebraska be at a talent disadvantage? Absolutely. But I promise you, man, like Ohio State, that's the last team you want to see walking into town. They go to USC in November. Does Nebraska? I don't know where USC is going to be at that point in the year. But when you got to play a tough outfit like Nebraska during the final month of the season, it's like, golly, man. We don't want to do this. We don't want to have to roll with these dudes and play at their level. And I'm not speaking to USC. I'm talking about anybody across the country with Nebraska. So the process for the good folks in Lincoln right now, in-house, it's working. It's working. Now, you may not be seeing the fruit that you are coming to expect in future years from Matt Rhule, but you're seeing things start to develop. You're seeing those roots start to take hold. So I think in 2024, they are a team that will make a bowl game. I truly believe that. And there's a lot of folks now that are saying, we've heard you say that before. You have. Hey, hand up. We've missed. We've missed a couple of times on Nebraska. Should we have been right based on the close losses? I mean, again, I'm just saying we've missed. We'll leave it at that. We've missed, but I don't think we're going to miss in 2024. I think this is the year to make a bowl game. And I think Dylan Raiola and the support he has around him is going to be a major differentiating factor in their success in 2024 offensively, because the defense will keep him in every game. Hey, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.